Young Thug has just shocked the entire hip-hop world by hopping on a beat and recording a brutal diss track aimed at none other than his former close allies Gunna Yak Gotti and Lil Woody.
Gunna wreck, Yak wreck, Slugger wreck, Woody wreck. Fuck that nigga Obama, he still mad about baby mama. Slime like Shawty, make sure you put down your 40. DK, okay, shit, he gay. Hey, I would say I'm stepping, but that's...
And the reason behind this fiery lyrical attack is his belief that they betrayed him by turning their backs when he needed them most, even though the truth is that many of them were simply trying to avoid the harsh reality of jail time. But to Thug, loyalty is everything, and this new track is not only a musical release, but also an emotional confession, a declaration of war, and a moment that could permanently change Atlanta rap history as we know it. Now, let's dive deep into everything that led to this moment, the background of these relationships, the betrayals that cut deep, and why Young Thug has chosen this precise moment to strike back with music sharper than any sword. Young Thug, the Atlanta icon, the pioneer of the melodic trap sound, and the man who influenced an entire generation of artists, has been behind bars facing one of the biggest legal battles hip-hop has ever witnessed. His name has been tied to the infamous RICO case, his label YSL painted as a criminal organization, and his life dissected in the courtroom as prosecutors attempt to turn his artistry into evidence. For months, fans have been holding their breath, watching every move, every headline, every leaked testimony, and every courtroom sketch to figure out if Thug will ever be free again or if his empire will crumble in front of the world. But in the middle of all this chaos, Thug just reminded everyone that he is still an artist first, still a rapper with venom in his voice, and still capable of shaking the entire industry with just a few words. This new diss track is proof that his spirit has not been broken, and it's aimed directly at the men he once called brothers. The relationship between Young Thug and Gunna was once seen as unshakable. Gunna wasn't just an artist on YSL, he was family. Thug groomed him, put him on, gave him the platform to shine, and stood by his side as Gunna rose to superstardom with projects that topped charts and singles that dominated clubs. But when the RICO case tightened its grip, everything changed. Gunna took a plea deal, and even though he insisted he didn't snitch, the streets weren't convinced. To Thug and many in his circle, that deal looked like betrayal. Gunna walked free while Thug remained locked up. And even if Gunna never directly pointed a finger at Thug, the optics were enough to damage their bond. And in the world Thug comes from, perception is reality, and loyalty means more than legal strategy. In this diss track, Thug doesn't hold back, allegedly calling Gunna soft, a sellout, and accusing him of breaking the code that held YSL together. He paints a picture of Gunna enjoying his freedom at the cost of Thug's shackles, a freedom that tastes bitter to the one who gave him everything. Then comes Yak Gotti, another name tied to YSL, and another man who once screamed "slat" with pride. Yak Gotti was supposed to be ride or die, one of the soldiers who would never fold. But as the trial unfolded, whispers began to circle that Yak's loyalty wasn't as solid as it seemed. Prosecutors suggested that he, too, had moments where his actions didn't align with the YSL code of silence. For Thug, that's all it took. In the diss track, Yak is not spared. Thug allegedly accuses him of running his mouth, of chasing his own safety rather than standing tall, and of choosing survival over family. To Thug, the pain isn't just in what was said, but in who said it. These were his brothers, his day ones, the men he broke bread with, toured with, and built an empire with. To him, their decisions are scars that cut deeper than any enemy ever could. And then there's Lil Woody, the name that has become infamous in recent months. Lil Woody was the one rumored to have sat down with authorities for hours, giving them insight into the inner workings of YSL. While some claim his statements were exaggerated, edited, or misinterpreted, the fact that his name is even associated with cooperating is enough to stain his reputation forever. To Thug, Woody represents the ultimate betrayal, the kind that can't be forgiven. In this diss track, the venom in Thug delivery reportedly grows sharper, the words colder, the emotions rawer. He paints Woody as the Judas of the YSL story, the one who sold out the kingdom for temporary safety. And in hip-hop, especially in Atlanta's streets, that is the kind of betrayal that guarantees you'll never be welcomed back. But let's pause for a moment and think about why all this is happening now. Young Thug is in one of the darkest battles of his life. The prosecutors are working overtime to paint him as a criminal mastermind. His empire is under a microscope, and his freedom hangs in the balance. He feels isolated, cornered, and abandoned by men he once thought would never leave his side. Music, in this moment, is not just art. It's therapy, it's war, it's survival. By recording this diss track, Thug is reclaiming his voice, sending a message to the streets, to his fans, and to the industry that no matter what happens in the courtroom, he is still in control of his story. And this is where the tragedy of it all comes in. Because while Thug sees betrayal, his so-called traitors may simply see survival. Gunna Yak Gotti, Lil Woody, they were staring at decade behind bars. They were facing prosecutors who wanted to make an example out of YSL. To them, taking deals, speaking out, or distancing themselves from Thug wasn't about betrayal. It was about not wasting their lives in a cage. From the outside, fans debate endlessly. Is Gunna a snitch? Did Yak fold? Did Woody really cooperate? But from Thug's perspective, the truth doesn't matter as much as the feeling. And the feeling is that when the fire was hottest, his brothers ran. This diss track, therefore, isn't just about music. It's about grief, anger, and heartbreak. It's about a man sitting in a cell watching his empire crumble, while the men he helped build it would walk free. It's about loyalty and what it means in the streets versus what it means in a courtroom. It's about the clash between perception and reality, between the code of silence and the instinct to survive. Thug isn't just dissing these men. He's airing out his pain, his disappointment, his rage. And by doing it on wax, he's making sure the whole world hears his side of the story before the system writes it for him. The track itself, according to those who have heard leaks and snippets, is pure Thug. His voice wails with emotion, bending melodies into sharp jabs, mixing pain with aggression, turning every line into both a threat and a confession. He allegedly calls out Gunna by name, mocks Yak for folding under pressure, and paints Woody as the snake in the grass. The beat is haunting, eerie, almost cinematic, as if Thug wanted the backdrop to feel like a movie score for betrayal. And when you hear it, you can't help but feel the weight of his words, the heaviness of his heart, and the bitterness of his disappointment. For fans, this track is both thrilling and heartbreaking. Thrilling because it's a reminder that Thug is still creating, still fighting, still refusing to be silenced. Heartbreaking because it shows just how fractured YSL has become, how much pain lies beneath the surface, and how unlikely is that these men will ever reconcile.